Jesus Christ, this was a mistake. Okay, finally got them both in frame. Yeah, so if you haven't guessed by the thumbnail or title of this video, this is going to be about my custom giant Kong and Godzilla. And I say custom, Kong, really more of a repaint. If you were wondering, these are the Playmates versions. So these are the kids' toys you can find for like 20 bucks at Walmart. You know, I really wanted just a giant Godzilla and Kong in my display, you know, because they're supposed to be kaiju. I wanted them to tower over most every other figure, and I think I got my wish. Because these guys are huge. But the Playmates ones, you know, they were lacking a lot of detail, alright? You know, things weren't painted or painted very poorly, and that's, you know, I'm not complaining, you know, they're supposed to be for children, you know, but the sculpt was there, the designers of the sculpt, they were there, alright? So, what I decided to do is just take my hand, doing something I've kind of never really done before, definitely never repainted anything on this channel before, it's definitely worked out if I did every single time, so I just decided to, you know, take my crack at, repainting these figures. So, because I can barely fit these guys into the same frame, I'm going to start with one, move to the other, and then we'll give our final thoughts at the end of the video. Okay, so, now that we're starting with Kong, I can show you everything that I've done. First, I repainted the entire fur brown. And I didn't like that. I gave it a lighter brown wash. Still didn't like it, so I gave it a very, very dark wash. So it's kind of back to where it started. Not even gonna lie. Back to where it started. This looks like it's paint. This is a shadow. So yeah. Back to where it started. I repainted his body, because I didn't like the scarring he had. I know you can see his scars, but the light pink just isn't doing it for me. I much prefer this clean look. You can't see this on camera, but in here you can just kind of see the faintest outline of the scars that were there. I like it. I think it looks good. Let's see if we can get that on camera, actually. No, it's too shiny. Okay, you can just trust me that you can still see it, okay? The articulation's kind of weird because there's a cut here. His hand does not move. I gave a black wash to this entire Kong glove, right? So, it's a little splotchy in some places because I couldn't get there to wipe the paint out, but it's there. And I gave the same paint wash of that onto the feet and everything, so you don't really need to see much of his limbs because really the main focus here is going to be his head. I gave a black wash to the inside of his mouth because it was a little too shiny, and I painted his gold tooth right there. Painted his gold tooth, and my Kong came a little damaged. He had a couple nicks up here and right here, so obviously I painted over those so they weren't, you know, noticeable. And yeah, this is why we start with Kong. He's pretty much done already. He has some pretty good articulation, but really, if you're gonna do this yourself, are you really gonna care about the articulation, or you just want Big Monkey stand there? So, to show you a comparison of some other Kongs on the market right now, I am going to show you a comparison between this Kong and this Neca Kong, which was my first Kong. And surprisingly, the first Kong. So this is the Neca Kong. This is the one I had on my Call of Duty display for a long while. And as you can probably already tell, is not accurate to the Legendary films, mostly because it's not supposed to be. This King Kong is actually a model of the original like the original film. I don't know if this one's exactly from that film. He has a lot of gashes, probably from a spin-off. They do make the one from the original film. It's the same sculpt as this one. And he comes with planes, and I wanted that one, but this one was cheaper, so I got this one. And the main difference between this Kong and that Kong, design-wise, is this one, he's clean-shaven. He don't have a beard. You know, big monkey, no beard. And that's pretty much the big difference between Legendary Kong and the old Kong. So if you were looking to build just a main Godzilla and King Kong display, you might be tempted to get this one because it's super cheap, and it's from Neca. It's probably like $15 at a Target. And you would be right. This is what I used for such a long while, and you know, it's big monkey. Like, if you don't care enough about the details, I mean, big monkey, big lizard. You know, Godzilla probably cater more towards the details than big monkey, but with this new release, the Beast Glove is probably going to be pretty important to his character moving on, so you're probably going to want that. So I did too. So I wanted big monkey with big glove, and that's what I got. Take a shot every time I say big monkey, I swear to God. Another Kong on the market who, I don't know. Oh, you could just barely see him. This is the SH Monsterarts Kong. This is the new one, the repaint. I know people don't like the repaints. I've watched reviews. Considering this is my first SH Monsterarts anything, I don't really care if it's a repaint. They were both in stock. I chose the newer one because it was, some reason, cheaper. I have no idea why. And I think it's really good, actually. I think this is really good. I do not support SH Monsterarts and them continuing to repaint. But if this was the first figure, I think it looks really good. The paint is a little lacking for a $70 figure. And the hand articulation is surprisingly bad. For what I was expecting with other SH Figuarts figures I own. And if you were going to go the route of this, it's going to cost you more for one thing. But the good thing is that there's always going to be a version of Kong and Godzilla on the market for the SH Monsterarts line. So you are never going to be left out if you just want to start, and that is why they're repainting. If you don't know, that is why. Not to okay, let's back up here a second. That is why they're repainting, despite the fact that the original version of this guy is still on market. So let that sink in for a minute. This guy is still on market. He's supposed to be from the new movie. Nothing about him is from the new movie. He is strictly from the old movie. You want proof he's supposed to be from the new movie? This is the box. It says the New Empire on it. So yeah, this guy's supposed to be from the new movie. He's not. So kind of a progression right here of styles, except for Skull Island. But we'll get to that. Actually, let's get to it right now. I did not get the SH Monsterarts Godzilla. I thought it looked like shit. I do not want to anger anyone who might be out there who is like, SH Monsterarts, you know, I love them. I love them. I'm gonna sit on their dick till the day I die. You know, I'm not gonna, you know, step on the toes of those people. I'm sorry. The SH Monsterarts Legendary Godzilla looks like shit. Looks like shit. Okay, he looks like shit. The Kong is good. I bought it. I mean, if the Hyia Kong was available, I probably would have bought that instead. Not gonna lie. This one scales with my Neca Godzilla, so I don't really care that much. But Hyia does scale, as you're gonna see, a little bit taller than most 6-inch, and I don't know the scale of the SH Monsterarts. I'm assuming it's close to Neca just by how Kong scales with them. But yeah, so I bought the Hyia Godzilla. I don't know. This is the box for it. I don't have them out yet because, well, this is Kong's review. But the whole point I'm trying to make here is that the Hyia Kong is cheaper if you find it on market, and you probably will because they seem better at distributing. It's cheaper. It looks not as good, but it's gonna scale better with more cheaper options. And yeah, I would say go with the Hyia all the way. You know, even though I bought this one, go with the Hyia. Go with the Hyia. And speaking of which, let's move on to the actual Hyia figure that I bought. Godzilla. So this is Godzilla. And here's the thing. I can tell he's not in frame. Okay, I know, guys. No need to comment. I know. And the problem with that is I'm going to bring it up immediately, is the tail. So I knew the tail was going to be a problem displaying this guy, because it just points out so far. It's not articulated, you know, besides, you know, a swivel. So it's really hard to pose with it, right? Or put him on a shelf because he sticks out so far. So originally I planned to not have the tail at all, right? Until I found the spot on my shelf where the tail would actually make him stand better. And you could use it. It goes all the way back to the shelf behind it, and it works. So, and if you watch the collection tour, that's how it is. But the thing about it is I did not care enough to paint it. You're never going to see it. And if I ever display him somewhere else, I am not going to use it because it pisses me off too much. So just ignore all this top part for a second. We're just talking about the tail. With the tail, because I wanted a blue Godzilla, not a pink Godzilla, for no particular reason other than I think blue's more aesthetic, I will be picking up the Hyia pink Godzilla just to have that version on the shelf, and I think he does look cool, just not as cool as blue. So, at the tail, he had kind of a mace tail that was not going to work for me, because I'm going with the blue version, not the evolved. So I dremelled it down and sanded it a little bit, but again, I did not care. I do not care about the tail. I also painted the blue tips just so it goes in line. Not very well, because again, it is the tail. I do not care about the tail. Moving on, let's bring Godzilla, try and put Godzilla in frame with that piece of shit tail. Here he is. If you are familiar at all with the Playmates evolved Godzilla, and I know you're gonna be sitting down there, well, fucking Captain, what the fuck, dude? Do you know they made a blue one? And I'm like, yeah, they made a blue one. For one, I didn't know that. For two, that was a couple years ago. So I do not want to pay third-party market for a Playmates Godzilla that I'm going to fuck up, possibly. I did, however, buy the new one, the evolved Godzilla. So he is going to be a little slimmer in the gut. You know, don't we all wish that could happen? So he's going to be just a little bit slimmer normally, and I'll show you with the Godzillas I do have, or the blue Godzillas I do have. Well, I guess the only one I brought up for comparison was a blue Godzilla and a red Godzilla, but you can see he's a little chunky. He's a little chunky in the mid region, you know. He's not really eating that well. So this Godzilla looks like he's starving. So just keep that in mind if you're going to do this repaint yourself. However, I will say, if you want the evolved Godzilla, you still might want to do a repaint, because the original color for this guy is dark-ass green. And I'll throw a picture up right there so you can see. That wasn't a good snap. I don't think the picture showed up. That go? No. There we go. There's the picture. So, as you can see, he's like a darkish green, and that goes the same with a lot of the Playmates Godzillas. Fuck if I know why. Well, looking at the trailer, I can't imagine the concept art looked like that. Anyway, we're just going to go with it, because they did, and snap back. You see, I repainted him to be gray. I also did the base coat was dark, then I did a light gray dry brushing, and then I did a super light gray dry brushing on some of the scales, which, fuck me. I'm just going to move the camera, not him, because my space is way too small to support it. As you can see, dark gray paint below, light dry brushing, then lighter dry brushing on the prominent scales. It's the same with the legs and everything else. It makes it pop a little more. Another thing to note is on the evolved version, he has these little nubbins that stick out really far on his elbows. I cut those off and sanded them down, then filled the hole with clay and let that dry. And that's like that on both sides. I also did the same thing for the screw holes on the other side. With the face, I opted to just paint his eyes blue for obvious reasons. Hey, there's my lamp. And I painted the inside of his mouth blue also because he's going to be lit up about to blast someone. With the fins were just all a one translucent piece. You can see the gap right here of where it is. And they were all pink. And obviously I wanted blue. Firstly, I painted them all this color. So they were all gray. I did all the dry brushings on them, and you can see it peeking through in some spots. And I like that because, it's not like they don't just like flip. Oh, fuck. Here's the picture again. Fuck. They don't just flick on a light, right? They kind of, wave blue, woo. They light up, from the inside. So you can still see that I kept some of the gray on purpose. I fucking did that on purpose. I swear to God. And then I painted them all with a light blue all the way up. Then I painted dark blue on the ends, and while the paint was still wet, so I could mix it in to kind of create a gradient effect that you can kind of see it flows into. And then I did a heavy white dry brushing on top to kind of create the white caps in his, not really white caps, but you've seen the movie, If you're here, you've seen the movie. So yeah, that is what I did to Godzilla. Putting this back down, moving him back, and moving the camera down. Actually, let's just look at his toes real quick, if we can. I painted his claws with a shiny black paint, and then I did a dry brushing of the same material down below. So his nails are shiny. If you want a better look at it, go to the collection tour video. I was not expecting this video to be such a pain. Moving in to comparisons, this is a Neca Godzilla that I have. This is the one that I would rather move than the other one because of how it's displayed. This is a 6-inch Godzilla. This is the scale I imagine the Figuarts is in, with this a little more articulation. This is a burning, though, to keep in mind the paint's not going to be accurate between them. And the other one I have is the Hyia Godzilla. Let me pop his head on. There we go. And you could also see this in a collection review. This is a 7-inch Gojira right here. And you can see translucent plastic. This is the one that you can get on market right now at Big Bad Toy Store. No link in the description. I'm not affiliated. And yeah, this figure, let's just back it up here, is a fucking amazing figure, I gotta say. Just comparing the two through reviews, through pictures online, this one looks awesome. This is the Godzilla. If you want to buy a Godzilla, buy a Hyia. I am going to tell you that right now. Buy a Hyia. Do not buy an SH Monsterarts, buy a Hyia. And I'm going to have people roast me. You'd be like, you're just starting, you don't know what you're talking about. I know, you might not see the comments, I do. Yeah. So they're going to say that. And I know they are. But here's the thing. I don't care. If you can honestly look at the two and say that if you think the other one's better, good for you, You think the other one's better, you got it, whatever. Personally, I think it's small, scrawny, and just doesn't look as good. I mean, the paint on this is way cool. I mean, the mouth is a little fucky. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's just light blue, but so is the one I painted. So, yeah. And I've seen pictures of the other one that's not lit up, which I don't think I'll get. I don't think I'll ever get one that's not lit up. Why would you want Godzilla that's not lit up? Not that it's a bad thing. I'll probably end up with one at some point. Let's be honest here. I end up with everything. But this Hyia Godzilla just knocks the other one out of the park, and it has one main thing, one big difference than the other one that really, really sold me on this one. And it's the way I'm displaying it, which you're about to see right now. Congratulations, you guessed correctly. It's the ability to look straight up and fire a beam straight into the sky. And this is through the effect of a separate neck and head used for it, and obviously a translucent blasting piece, which you can use with the other neck. This is the other neck. It's segmented for articulation. This one is not. It's just made to look straight into the sky, do the King of the Monsters pose, you know. That is fucking badass. And this is what sold it on me, because I am never going to display this figure another way. I mean, sorry, buddy. You look awesome and everything, but you look like a... get the fuck out of my face. This is peak fucking Godzilla figure for me. This is all I ever wanted. I could have stopped here. I might not. I might be getting a Ghidorah. Who knows? Whom I might get the Hyia Ghidorah. It looks pretty sick, and it would look great with this. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that puppy. And this is $50. This is literally, what is it? $30 less than the SH Monsterarts. That's like, and less paint, and can't do that? Like, what? No. Who's gonna get that? No. Like, go ahead and check out the collection review if you want to see how I'm displaying this in the actual display. This beam touches the top of my ceiling, because I have it on the top of my shelves. Touches the ceiling. It's so big. And it looks awesome. Like... This is awesome. Who's ever going to get something other than this? I know this video is supposed to be about the repaint of the Playmates. I know it is, okay? I know that's why people clicked on this. But honestly, if you're looking to get into this shit, you know, get this figure. I mean, if you want like a giant Godzilla, what is he, a couple inches, maybe 6 inches taller than this one, you know, then yeah, get the Playmates, repaint it if you think you're so paint savvy. Probably a lot more than me, let's be honest here. I'm not that great. But if you're just looking, you know, to get a quick, cheap, good-looking Godzilla figure, I know I say cheap, this is $50. You know, $50 isn't nothing. It's nowhere near nothing. I mean, that could be a life-changing amount of money for someone. But if you have just $50 lying around and you don't want to spend it on food for the next week, get this. I mean, if you're watching this video, you probably want a Godzilla figure. You're probably not a standard collector because you're looking at the Playmates. So, yeah, it looks really good. The only problem I have with it is this head is sometimes very hard to peg in. And it's very hard to tell when it's pegged in. I don't know if it's pegged in right. It's pegged in right now. I'm moving the ball joint. But, yeah, it's awesome. Okay. Now, let's wrap this video up. Please. Yep, and so that's it, everybody. I hope you liked the video. Like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Especially comment if you want to see more Godzilla versus Kong stuff, because I might get the Ghidorah. I don't know yet. I might get the Ghidorah, guys. We'll see what my next paycheck holds. I am still waiting for a couple Hot Toys pre-orders to go through. This is the first time I pre-ordered Hot Toys, so the waiting period is... I don't really know when they're expected to come out. So it could be towards the end of the 3-month. It could be after. It could be during... Yeah, so we're gonna figure that out, and then we will get back to you on if I get the Ghidorah or not. Anyway, if you guys like the video, go ahead and subscribe. Like I already said, subscribe again, subscribe, and see you in the next one.